Well, during the last 2 weeks, the issue of homelessness has taken center stage in Bloomington. The mayor directed city workers to remove a homeless encampment from Seminary Park despite objections from local elected officials and organizations. That left dozens of people who'd been sleeping in the park with no place to go. But the community rallied. And as Ethan Burks reports, a new shelter opened this week.
2 weeks ago, the city put up signs in Seminary Park warning those who were camping overnight that they would have to seek shelter elsewhere because it is against the law to sleep there. It was at that point that Forrest Gilmore of Beacon Inc. knew something had to be done, and fast.
We realized that there just weren't enough shelter beds for people this winter, and so we felt a strong need to kind of find a way to resolve that problem and challenge and step in and kind of help the situation.
Gilmore and other housing advocates asked for a moratorium on the removal, but on January 14th, the city sent police officers into the park to enforce the 11 p.m. curfew. Gilmore moved quickly to find a location for a temporary shelter to get it inspected and ready to welcome in people. The location he found was a 4,000 square foot warehouse along the Beeline Trail near Switchyard Park with a capacity of 49 beds.
This is intended to be a short-term emergency winter shelter. We're just trying to get through the winter season. Right now we have a target date of keeping it open until April 15th.
It's a low barrier shelter, so anybody can come in under any condition. Gilmore says it does not matter if people are intoxicated as long as they don't have any illegal substances in their possession. He also says it's the only local shelter that allows couples to stay together.
We heard that that was a barrier for people in terms of wanting to sleep inside or sleep in a shelter, so we tried to eliminate that barrier.
The shelter offers people a place to sleep at night and food, but it doesn't solve the overall issue of homelessness in the long term. Tensions were on display earlier in the week when people marched to the streets of Bloomington on Martin Luther King Day. The rally began in Seminary Park and then moved to Mayor John Hamilton's house, where folks stood outside and shouted through a megaphone.
They don't want us to live, they want us to exist, and they want us to exist how they say we should exist.
Hamilton says it's one of his goals to provide more affordable housing and get people who are experiencing homelessness off the streets.
We don't want people living outside, but some people do. Now, you don't get to just choose wherever you want to live outside in this city. We do not allow encampments in the downtown public park. You can't do it in the middle of a sidewalk. So we're trying to make sure people get into safe spaces outside of the elements, which can be fatal.
The mayor says the city has invested millions of dollars towards affordable housing during his tenure. At this week's city council meeting, Hamilton criticized the council for not approving his tax increase that he says would have allocated more money for his housing initiatives.
I urged that we enact new revenue last fall. You weren't ready to take that step then. I believe the need continues and indeed may be growing.
The tax increase would have earmarked $250,000 for services to people experiencing homelessness starting in the year 2022 through at least the year 2026. But as for solving the issue of homelessness altogether, Hamilton says he doesn't know what that price figure would look like. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Ethan Burks.